I'm here with Jennifer Van Benschoten, the editor of Beading Daily. And Jen, I love this idea for using block prints as a pattern. Great idea.
It's a really good idea to jumpstart your bead embroidery when you're just not sure how to get started.
Right, what a great way to find inspiration. And these wooden blocks are what you use to make the pattern.
Yes.
And these are used for batik. Can you use rubber stamps for this?
Rubber stamps don't work as well because they don't have as much relief in them as the wood blocks do.
All right, so get yourself some wood blocks. And how do we get started?
It's really easy. I use a piece of my favorite bead embroidery medium. It's a stiffened felt. And these are just acrylic paints that I bought from a craft store. They're not very expensive. They come in a whole lot of colors. And what I like to do before I start stamping is when I pick my colors, I like to match my colors to my beads to see what's going to match. The other thing I like about this stiffened felt is that it's pre-colored, so it kind of adds an extra color without even trying to your finished project.
Yeah, so you get a colored background behind your beadwork. Nice.
So it's really easy to get started with your paints. The one thing you want to remember if you're layering paints, you want to make sure to use the darkest color first so it actually shows up. And all you have to do is just brush your paint on, and don't be afraid to really layer it on thick. And you don't have to color the whole stamp with, you don't have to put each color on. You can start with one color.
Yeah. So a lot of people who do bead embroidery kind of freehand the design, onto the medium felt or whatever kind of backing they're using. I like this idea of creating an outline.
Yes, it definitely helps. It gives you an easy, great pattern to follow. And I'll just add a little bit of
Do you want to be sure to look for wood blocks that have a deep impression? I guess most wood blocks do.
Most do, yes. The rubber stamps definitely don't work as well on this as the wood blocks do, because the wood blocks have much more relief. So once you're happy with your colors and you have a nice thick coat of paint, you just turn it upside down, give it a nice firm push, and there you go.
All
and
right.
You've got your little pattern to get started.
Very good. I'll move this out of your way.
Okay. So you have to make sure you let everything dry completely, obviously, before you start stitching.
Okay.
It's very simple. You can pick up 2 beads. I'm using size 11 seed beads, but you can use larger beads like size 8s for the middle for accents, and you can, if you're really feeling adventurous, you can even use size 15 beads.
Well, I love the dimensionality of combining the different sizes together.
Yeah.
It really makes a nice texture.
Yeah, it does. With the paint and everything else, it really looks nice. So you pick up your 2 seed beads and you push them down all the way against your embroidery material, and then you put your needle down right in front of that second bead, pull your thread through, and then flip it over, and you stick your needle back up through the other side. Come up, so you're sort of in between those 2 beads that you just added, and then you just take your needle through the very last bead you added.
All right. Can we see it one more time?
Sure. You just do that around and around. Actually, I'll do this one with some big seed beads, with some big purple seed beads.
Sure.
So you put your beads up there, and you go down through your bead embroidery medium right in front of those beads. Flip it over. You come up through the middle, and then back through that last bead.
All right, and I could see you could make some really beautiful patterns with this. And you're incorporating the color of the paint and the felt behind the beadwork.
Yes, and you can see in this piece that I have that I finished, I kind of picked and chose where I wanted to add my beads, and you can see a couple of spaces where I let the paint show through, and I also let the color of the bead embroidery medium of the stiffened felt show through too.
Yeah, it gives it a really beautiful handmade finish.
Yeah.
So then, how do you finish this type of piece?
This piece you can finish just like any other bead embroidery piece. What I like to do, especially if I'm going to use it for a pendant, is I'll add a little piece of plastic in between the finished bead embroidery and the piece of imitation suede or leather that I like to use. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and a toothpick. And this, what I'm using here to stiffen it, is just a piece of a plastic milk carton that I cleaned and traced and cut out. And it makes
a little bit of recycling there too.
Yes, you recycle, and it makes a wonderful stiffener for your bead embroidery pieces.
All right. So if you wanted to turn this into a pendant, for example, I know you're going to show us how to stitch the layers together.
Yeah.
But would you attach a beaded bail?
You could attach a beaded bail. You could sew a jump ring to it and put it on a chain. You could stitch a chain right to the outside. There's
All kinds of things.
probably a dozen different ways that you could actually turn this into a pendant. They're all very easy.
All right. So when you're ready to stitch your layers together, does it matter what size bead you use?
It doesn't matter. It goes much faster if you use a size 11 bead. But again, if you're one of those people that really likes detail work, you can even use a size 15 bead.
Okay.
If you have a lot of time on your hands.
Right.
I'm going to use size 11 for this one.
Okay.
So to add your brick stitch edging, you pick up one of your size 11 beads, and then you're going to put your needle through all your layers, through your leather and through your felt.
Okay.
And I picked a bad place. There we go. So you're going to come right up, right underneath that outside edge of your beads. You're going to pull your thread through, and then you go right back through your bead and pull it tight so that the bead sits on the outside edge.
And do that all the way around.
And just do that all the way around.
All right. And we'll have the complete instructions on our website.